So there's a reason for everything. And I just wanted you to see the way that your skein works from. Now you can pull it out and roll it into a ball, that's fine. You don't have to with this personally. But with any skein, you have two ends, okay? So if you reach in, you see this one, it's coming off of the side. We can work with this, however, if we do, this is gonna be rolling all over the place. If you go to the other side, stick your hand in and just try to get into the very center, okay? It means like a little hole there. And grab something, okay? When you do that, you're going to get the center where you want to work out of. Reason being, look, I'm pulling it out, it's not rolling anywhere, but if I did that with the side, it'd be all over the place. So that's just a little helpful hint I wanted to share with you before you guys get started. I thought it was important to show you what the difference is when you're making your stitches, okay? So all three of these are 25 stitches long. And you'll notice, and I'll come up here to the top, that's the difference, okay? So if you're making a tighter weave, you're gonna get something a little bit shorter, or, at this length. This is more of a medium, so it's a little bit longer. And this top one, let me show you from the bottom, okay? So this is the first one. You see it's kind of difficult almost to see where the each stitch is because it is a tight weave, and that's why 25 stitches went this far. Sorry, I go so fast. The middle one, much nicer. You can see where the stitches are going to be. It's a good weave. It's not going to be too loose when you're, snuggling in it. And then the top one, I'll go down this way, is all the way up here. Much looser. You can really see the stitches or where the holes are for the stitches. So I want you to, I want you to get comfortable with the yarn. So you may want to do this particular, maybe just do like 10 and then do another 10 on a different, pull it out, do another 10, or just decide what kind of stitch you want to have. Of course, this will be a little harder to work with, trying to pull that through. These two will be a lot easier when you're trying to pull through your stitches, okay? So you see they all start at the same spot. I'll move slower so you don't get whiplash. And that's the difference at the top. So again, you could decide what you want it to be. Okay, I laid down just a white towel so you'd have some kind of contrast, be easier for you to see the stitches. Okay, so this is the end of my yarn, and the other side is what we consider the skein. That's where it's still connected to the skein. And I'm just gonna, and you can leave as much as you want, as little as you want, but I'm gonna pick it up and it's gonna kiss. Okay, just putting them next to each other. I'm gonna go around and pull through, and that's my first stitch. Okay, another way to do it is if you know how to make a slip knot. That's what we just did, a slip knot, which means I just crisscross, pull it through, and yank. Whichever way gets you here is perfectly fine. Then once we're here, we're just going to take our yarn. Here's the hole. Take the yarn, and I'm going to push it through. Now it's easier for me to put my fingers through the hole and create little pincers. Pick up my yarn and bring it through to create my stitch. That's how I do it. Again, however you get it done is great. And now that's my first stitch, and this is going to be my second one. Going through and pulling, going through and pulling. And eventually you'll be getting a nice rhythm. Pull it through then, okay? And you're gonna get through, and you're just gonna count, okay? So you get to 15, 20, 25, 16, your choice, okay? So the blanket I've made is a 25 stitches across, I think. I don't remember. It's been so long. I'm kind of doing this backwards because I'm showing this to you now and that blanket's already been made. But that's how you're going to get whatever your desired width is going to be. Now, guess what? I could stop right there and make a scarf. Same technique, guys. It's kind of like a 2-for-1. You're learning how to make a blanket as well as a scarf. Okay? And I'm just going to keep pulling and yanking through. Pulling and yanking through. Okay? And that's how we get our width. Now, I'm going to count. Pull that back through there. Oh, sorry. Got to get this in right in front of you. Okay. So, what we do is we count our stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, so how did I count my stitches? We can go into each one. I count the humps on the top, just that top stitch for our first row. Okay? And what I did was, this was my last stitch here. This is going to be my first stitch to go up into the next row. Okay? So I'm going to pull, let me show you through. Take this, and again, same we do before, pull it through, and it pulls up. Turn it backwards for you. Okay? Now, again, coming through the back, push that yarn through, and pull up. I'm kind of doing this backwards just so it's easier for you to see, okay? So this would basically be in front of you. I'm pulling from the back. I'm going backwards. So here, find the hole for your next one. All right, find the right spot for you. And go and pull it through the back. And pull up. You see that? Okay, I'm just gonna get this out of your way. Come here. You're gonna go through the front with your fingers. Grab that string. Pull it through. And pull this way. So you see now, I've got 4 stitches from my second row. And we're just going to keep going. Again, I'm doing it upside down just so that it's easier for you to see. Okay? If I was doing it easy for me to do, I'll show you how that would be. Okay? It would be in front of me. Where am I? Yep. Laying in front of me, just like this. Take my finger, go in, pull it through. Again, our first row, I'm just using the top stitch, okay? Coming from the back, pushing it through, and pulling it up. And I'm gonna go all the way to the end, okay? When you see me doing something that's repetitious, by all means, you can fast forward. That's fine. And believe me when I tell you that the second row, the first row was our chain. The second row is our first set of loops. That's the hardest one because you have to really get in there to get that piece coming through it. Pulling it through, pushing it up. Those cute little sounds are my puppies running around on laminates. That's what their little toenails sound like, okay? Coming through, pulling it up. Okay, coming to the end. Alrighty, and I'm going to come through the last one. Okay. You see that? All of that. So this is my end. This is my skein. I just did my last loop. Now, what I'm going to do is we're going to work back that way. So I did my last loop. I have to go back into that. I'm trying to find the easiest way to show you. My last loop there. Taking again my skein and going through my finger, pulling it out, pulling it up. You see that? That's the next loop. And we just keep going. Put this to the other side so it's not bothering you. I'll keep cutting across, aren't I? Okay. So I have that one there. Got two now. Going from the center, pulling it out, pulling it up. And you just lay it down to kind of make sure that your stitches are even. And that's it, my friends. We keep going. I'm just going to keep going and finish off this row so that you can see it. And basically everything in between your ends is the same stitch. Going from the front, pulling it through. Okay? And coming to the front, going to the back, pulling it through. And again, it's so much easier when it's sitting in front of you. And I'm not trying to do it backwards to make it easier for you. Okay, just keep going. And I just press it down. And I can see that it's the same size. Okay, seeing that? And that is all there is to it. I know you would think it would be so much more involved, but it's not. Okay. Remember I said I already finished the blanket? I did. And I went back to edit the video to put it together and realized that I somehow, when I did this beginning section at work, I must have erased it by accident. So here I am, I'm at home, and just why not, right? There we go. Now what do we do if I finish that? Give you a second answer. That's right. We just go through, start the next row with another loop coming through our stitch. And now we work our way back this way. Now I'll move it back this way so it's not interfering with you. Okay? So we just keep going like this, pulling it through, pulling it through. Now, when you're doing this, and you now have, say, 30 rows and starting to bulk up in front of you, you can roll it up to bring it closer, or you can turn it around. Remember how I showed you in the beginning when I was doing it backwards to show you? Why not? You could turn it around and again, work it more towards you. So again, same thing, going through the front with your finger and pulling it, the yarn through the back. Whichever makes you happy. That's what I tell everybody. I'm giving you guidance. This is not the gospel. This is not, it must be done this way and this is the only way it'll work. No, I'm giving you the basic stitches. If you find it coming towards you is easier, going away from you is easier, that's personal preference. The whole idea is just getting one string to come through another loop. That's it. And trying to do your best to keep it all pretty even. And how do you do that? You lay it down, you take a look. How do you fix it if it's not? Let me show you. Okay, so let's say I have it down and I realize that these are all great, but this one's not. What do? I just pull it out a little bit. Oh, look, now it's back to where it should be. If it's too small, just yank a little bit more, okay? And that, my darlings, is just how you're gonna make your blanket, AKA scarf, AKA whatever. And remember, you could do a bunch of them and then sew them all together in different colors, or I will show you as we go through the video how to connect on your next skein. But so far, that's what we got going. Okay, let's move on to the next video. Okay, so I want to show you how to connect when you're adding a a new skein to your blanket. Very simple. You're going to just do like a double knot. A knot there, and then a knot there, pulling it through, and pulling it really, really tight, okay? See how pulling it tight? Then you're going to go ahead, and you can go right up against the knot and snip it. And snip the other side, okay? And you see it's super tight. And now when I put it into my blanket, it's going to meld right in. So let me get to that point and go into there. And as you can see, you can't see it. As you can see, you can't see, okay? Even on the other side, again, barely visible at all. Okay, so that's how we're going to connect our next skein. So I wanted to show you this. If at some point you find it's really building up and you have to keep rolling and rolling and rolling to get your stitches to go that way, by all means just swing it around, and instead of you pulling your stitches up, same stitch, but you're just going to be pulling them towards you in order to see if they're even. So I'll just do the last 4 on here. So again, take your hole, your stitch there, take your thread, your yarn, pull it through and pull it towards you, okay? Making sure all of these are kind of even. It doesn't have to be perfect, but because you know it's that kind of fabric, it's that kind of yarn, it's the chenille that is beautiful to work with, nice and fluffy. So it fills in any little mishaps you may have. I'm going to go and do the last 2. So pull this up, looking pretty good. And on the last one, like I showed you before, in and up. That's the last one. So now we have to start our lane going this way. So into that same one, we go in and up. So we finished off and then this started a new one. What I've done is I've just pulled my yarn out and you get to swing it around. Okay, so it's really that easy. And you're just gonna keep going with that. Okay, now again, how tight you do your stitches will decide how big or small your finished blanket is. But remember, the weight of it is going to pull it as well. So I'm just going to keep going. And when I get back, I'll show you the next step. So I've come to the end of my skein and I'm ready to, if it was on a needle, cast off. Okay, so we're going to do our finishing edge. How do I know how much I need for that? Well, on this particular size blanket, for the stitches I've done, it's approximately 3 lengths across. So here's my end. 1, 2, 3, and then I have a wee bit left over. If you want to make sure you get the most out of your yarn, you can do all, so you have next to nothing left. Okay, so you can do another row, and when your row is only going to leave you less than what would be 3 lengths across, pull that row out, then you'll know you have exactly the right amount. So when it comes time to finishing off, what we're going to do is it's almost the same as when we were first starting. I'm going to make my loops extra big just to show you, to really give you an idea. So this is my last loop that I had going, okay? Now this is just for the purpose of the video. Make your stitches the same size as the rest of your blanket. So I have this nice loop here, which is my last one. I'm going to come into the loop next to it. Let's call this the second row. I'm going to pull up my stitch, right? See that? My second stitch. And I'm going to put my first stitch, I'm going to go through the second stitch and pull it around. Okay? Then again, what am I going to do for my next one? Well, taking my skein, I'm going to go through the third row, let's call it, pull it up, and now go through the second loop. So you're always coming one loop in a row. So you can see that, see how nice it looks? So that's what we're going to do. Again, I just did the extra large loop for the emphasis of the video. I'm gonna take those 2 out and do it correctly. Okay, and just to give you the opportunity to watch me do the whole thing. Okay, so just like we did before, the end, we were going to put a loop in. We're going to put our loop in, okay, and pull it through. We're going to put our next loop in, pull it through, but then we're going to visit next door, which means we're going to put it in there and pull it over, okay? Now, with our skein end, we're going to go through, let's call this number 3. Pulling it through, and then what do? We go next door, go through that hole and pull it. And you'll see you're going to get a really nice braided effect. I'm going to keep doing it with you guys so that you can, you know, stop, fast forward, master, what have you, okay? Then the next one, we're going into the house with our, like a regular loop that we've been doing through the whole blanket. And then we're going to go next door, go through there, okay? And that's the way we do the entire way to finish off. So our skein goes through the house, like I said, goes next door, and comes back over, okay? And you'll find that, you know, you could just keep doing it with practice, in through the house, going next door, coming back through. See that nice finished look? Isn't that gorgeous? Okay. Okay, into the house. Coming next through the house, through the door next door, and coming back over. Okay, and I'm going to just keep doing this. Into the house, going next door for coffee, coming back home. Okay, into the house. Use whatever analogy you like. Going next door for coffee. Then you got to come home because you have somebody coming over in a little while. That's our next loop, okay? Taking our skein always into the house. Coming next door. And coming back. You let that sit into the house. And you'll find your rhythm. You really will find your rhythm, okay? Going in, pulling over. Okay? I want to make sure that you know that you're pulling out, you're always working with your skein end, okay? Not, so this goes into the house, pulling it over, okay? We're almost done. Into the house, coming over, pull it around for you a little bit so you can see better, okay? Now when you want to get real fancy, you could always edge it out in a different color. And then you could just do like a stitch all the way around. I'm going to show you other stitches that you can do with this type of yarn, okay? I'm going to pull it through, come over. We're going to pull it through, okay? Then again, go next door. So almost to the very end, okay? Just a few stitches left. So you always want to remember to go into the house. Got to go into the house. Can't go directly next door. Okay, going into the house. Going next door. And coming back over. Okay, so we're going to do that. Then again, into the house. We're coming up on our very end. Coming next door. Coming over. Into the house. Coming next door. Going over, imagine this, into the house, and you can use the very end, going next door, and coming over, and then if I had enough, I could have done, the whole stitch, but I'm just going to take this now, and I'm going to just weave it into the end, okay? There we go. That's our finished piece there, guys. Okay, again, the width, the tightness or the looseness of your stitches will decide, how much you got going on, okay? So I'm gonna get up and show you what it looks like all together. So if you remember back in the beginning when we first started, we had this piece, and what we're going to do is just going to weave it into our finished edge. I find if you go to the finished edge, it's better than going to the side edge for some reason. I don't know, personal preference, okay? And there we go. Okay, so we finished our blanket, and I just want you to see exactly how big it is. And remember, I did very tight stitches. You probably get a little bit more width if you did looser ones, but I don't know if you can even see it all. But okay, it's touching the ground right now, so it comes up past my nose, and I'm 5'7", okay? So it's definitely got more than 72 inches there. I'm sorry, no, 67 inches there, okay? That is the whole thing, okay? So that's 6 skeins of yarn. Beautiful, warm, snug. I love it. Hopefully you'll make one with us, and I'll see you guys soon. Remember, art's everything.